Hello friends, Ben Ochart here. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a while since we've done a lap of the fish room, so I thought it was time to show you what's going on in all of the tanks and also in the fish room in general. So let's go ahead and just take a look at what's happening and show you the fish, the tanks, and some of the projects that are going on in here. All right, let's go ahead and get going. Let's start with the 55-gallon planted aquarium, and as you can see, it is lush. Thinning out the hornwort made a big difference. It actually looks a lot healthier since I took a lot of it out. It's still pretty thick, and this one's probably due for a little more thinning, but it's a lot healthier when it's not so much. I brought over a lot of the pagoda snails that were in the 29-gallon because I didn't want to risk the red tear tearing them up. You can see there's some real pretty little pagoda snails, and these were all born in this aquarium except for Big Mama. This is Big Mama right there, and she's the one that started it all. She or he, they can create other snails all by themselves. They don't need a mate. They're that kind of snail. But the plants are doing okay. The fish are doing great. Asboras, lemons, neons, and of course these albino acaras, which are going to get brought over to the 90 probably within the next week or two. The 90-gallon looks a little bare since I took out a lot of the fish, but the ones that are in here are thriving. I think the red spotted gold severum loves that he's not getting harassed by that red shoulder, by the red shoulder severum. Buenos Aires tetras doing their usual chasing. Congos seem to be doing well. There's definitely a few dominant males and several females. Maybe they'll lay some eggs. Electric blue acara, the one that I left behind. This was the less aggressive of the two. AC Hecali. There's even a Siamese algae eater in here. Looks like a little pencil, a little torpedo. Here's the 29-gallon with my my dwarf blue rainbows. They're all doing great. They're all going to go over to the 55-gallon planted. I may have to put the female red terror that's being brought to me by my friend Whip, and she'll probably go in here. I hope she doesn't destroy my plants, in particular this beautiful red bulb down here, which has been doing well here for quite some time, and of course all the Anubias and Java fern. But I hope she doesn't want to eat the little baby plecos. Maybe they're too big for her. She's not a big red terror. She's very, very small and young, has no color. So she'll be going into this tank as a quarantine and grow out until I feel confident enough to put her in with the male red terror. A little mystery baby fish is doing great. This little fry, he's in this little 5-gallon aqua top acrylic tank, bow front acrylic tank. I'll just grow them out in here. I think it's a rainbow. Seems to be doing great. I brought him over from the 29. I've been feeding him North Fin fry starter, which is like the consistency of talc powder, and he's just been eating it up and thriving on it. Occasionally I'll crush up a little bit of some of the extreme community, just kind of crush it up and put it in there. Seems to be doing great. And right next door is the live bear tank. Pretty guppy. Then we go over to the solitary confinement that I've put my red tear into. 29-gallon. So he's in tight quarters, and I don't like him in here. If he gets startled, he can bang up against the sides but he'll be in there for a little while until I can get that these tanks set up in here, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Let's take a look at the 300-gallon. Turquoise hap, looking good. Stragatus. There's the Malawi trout, tends to be a little bit of a camera hog. The Venusis. Rhodesiae yellow, Buccochromis rhodesiae yellow, and the Fusco. They're all just coming in one at a time to introduce themselves to you. Buccochromis spectabilis. These plants back here need to be pulled out and given a bleach cleaning. You can see they've got a little bit of brown on them. There's the hawk. Love the look of the hawk. They're so unusual. Aristochromis christii. Quingy. As you know, one of my favorite fish. Interestingly enough, I've concluded that that my sand diver is actually may actually be blind. You can see him back there, and the reason he wasn't eating was because he simply can't see the food. So as I wave my hand on the outside of the aquarium, there's like no real reaction. So either he has very low sight or very little sight. But if I put garlic on the food and he's in the area of it, he will go after it. So I think he's just lost his sight, which I guess happens to fish from time to time. His eyes are not foggy necessarily, and there's no damage to him. There's the gar. I'm going to be adding a algae scrubber, so stay tuned for more on that. I had algae scrubbers years ago back in California, and I watched a recent video by the Cichlid brothers talking about how they've been using an algae scrubber and don't have to change the water that often in their cichlid tank. Of course, you can't have live plants inside a cichlid tank because they get eaten up and destroyed, but they're using an algae scrubber to help control some of the nitrates with the absorption of the algae. So I've got a couple of algae scrubbers. I'm going to add one to this tank and see if it makes a difference. It, of course, will consume the ammonia, nitrates, and release oxygen. You can even harvest it and feed it to the fish. It's really good stuff. So stay tuned for some of that. If you're interested in algae scrubbers, I do have a playlist that is, I think it's entitled A Natural Nitrate Reduction, because that's what it does. It reduces nitrates and it also reduces algae in the aquarium because it consumes all the nutrients that algae would require. So it sort of outcompetes. Here's the 210-gallon South and Central American tank, which has been a source of excitement and drama recently. But the good news is that the fish that were brought over, except of course for the red tear, which has been removed, but the fish that are in here now are doing great. You see the geo, both geos. They've been hanging together since I brought them over, but when they start chasing each other, then I'll know they're real comfortable. They love chasing each other. Haven't been fed, so they're pretty excited right now. It looks like my wave maker is on, creating a lot of water flow. You can see it there, 3,500 gallons an hour, and what it does is it just suspends a lot of the detritus so that it goes into the filters. You see my electric blue Ochart back there. I mean, they're all doing better after I took the red tear out, who was actually creating a lot of excitement. That firemouth. Beautiful fish. Love the red on the bottom of the body. Absolutely gorgeous. Chocolates. This is a algae scrubber from my friends over at Santa Monica Filtration, and essentially what it does inside of it is you have lights that are the perfect frequency for growing algae. So the light section stays on the outside of the aquarium, and then there's a very rough textured area on the inside of the aquarium. You aerate, you provide a lot of oxygen to the algae, so there's an air line, and so bubbles come out of the top of it on the inside of the aquarium, and then hanging on the outside with the magnets are the perfect frequency UV lights. I'll crack it open so you can see it. You can see the UV lights right there, and they're designed to be in the exact range that is most conducive to growing algae. Then the algae grows on this rough texture. And then you pull it out every week or two and clean the algae off. You can also harvest it. And I used to just open it up sometimes, let the fish peck at it. Especially if you have plecos, they just absolutely love it. I used to have a sunshine benga that used to go crazy, and some clown loaches that would go crazy eating the algae. But I'm going to hang this probably in the sump. I'm trying to figure out where to place it in the sump. And it needs an air pump, so I'll probably use one of those air pumps from my friends over at Aquarium Co-op that keeps running for like 48 hours after a power outage. It has a lithium battery backup, so I'll probably use one of those, a single outlet pump, and that should help to keep the nitrates down and help control some of the brown algae that shows up and ends up getting onto the plants in the aquarium. Another project I have going on is this 29-gallon that was the sump underneath the 210. I've got to get it cleaned up and then probably either store it or just put it on Craigslist. But what I'm probably going to do is just put it, just set it up here on the floor and remove all of the substrate from this 55-gallon that's been sitting here empty with the broken brace. The good news is I contacted Aquarium, and I did produce the receipts and was able to provide them everything that they asked for. So they are going to issue me a full credit. Now, what I'm going to do with that full credit is I'm going to take that money they're sending me, they're going to send me a check, and I'm going to go ahead and acquire a replacement from my friends over at Glass Cages. So I worked something out with Joe, they're making one for me. And then I'll be able to show you on a side-by-side basis how an Aquarium tank compares to one that comes from Glass Cages. You'll be able to see a side-by-side comparison. So watch for that video. I'm sure there'll be some noticeable differences. But I'll get this thing set up, and then that's probably where the red tear will go. And maybe I'll put a divider in it and put the male and female in the same tank, so at least they become familiar with each other, acquainted through a screen, and then we'll go from there. I was sent a big box of food from Josh over at Cunningham Cichlids. Almost every kind of food you can imagine for every kind of fish and aquarium, and just a whole bunch of it. Earthworm flakes and algae wafers and brine shrimp pellets and fry starter crumble. I mean, just so many different kinds of food, and I've got to figure out how to give these away, the best way to give these away. High intensity color pellets, premium cichlid flakes. I might just keep that one. So big shout out to channel sponsor Josh, and Cunningham Cichlids, Cunningham Tropicals. I still call them Cunningham Cichlids. CunninghamTropicals.com. Be sure to use the code, the ben.o.15 for 15% off on fish, and ben.o.10 for 10% off on dry goods like his high quality food. Well, I hope you enjoyed that walkthrough of the fish room, and if you liked it, be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any new content. And if you'd like to support the channel further, consider becoming a Patreon supporter. Starts for as little as $3 a month and really helps out. And if you'd like to know more about my best fish keeping tips, just go ahead and click on that playlist in the upper left-hand corner. And if you'd like to subscribe, just hit me in the mug right below that playlist and you'll be subscribed to the channel. Thank you so much, my friends. You are very appreciated, and I will see you at the next one. Bye-bye.